What did you make of Liverpool on Sunday? They got that vital win at West Ham.
Yeah, look, they needed a win. I don't think they were amazing. I thought it was workmanlike. They got the job done. They were a bit more compact. I think Joe Gomez coming back into the side gave them a bit more of a defensive stability. Players playing in a position where they should be playing. Look, West Ham were poor. I didn't think West Ham were great at all. It was a West Ham performance that I was expecting to see. And Liverpool got it done. Are they blowing up any trees? No, of course they're not. But they need to pick up results, and they needed a win, and they got one. A clean sheet, 2 goals. Isak scores. You know, it calms things down a little bit. There's a long way to go to get back to where they need to, but maybe it's a step in the right direction.
They got a win without starting Mo Salah. Arne Slot said he wasn't happy to be dropped. That's understandable. Yeah. Do you think he'll be back in, or do they stick with this winning team?
Well, if he rotates, and he'll have to look at the squad of players, they've got a huge amount of games coming now.
Sunderland tomorrow night at home and Leeds at the weekend away.
Yeah, so look, you know, he will feature, of course he will. Is he the player who starts week in, week out for Liverpool right now? I'd probably say no. His performances this season have been poor. And the problem is he's got such high standards of where he's been, and everything about Liverpool over the last 6-7 years has been about feeding Mo Salah to score goals. I think, you know, with the players that they've brought in and the style of football that they're trying to play, probably doesn't suit Mo Salah. And I think maybe there's, you know, now you're looking at it where he might have to be left out for some games. Of course he will feature, and of course he'll score goals. Does he have to be the main man, the star player in that team, you know, every week? I don't, you know, he's getting older, and maybe his levels have dropped off a bit. They've got some brilliant players that they've brought in, and they're trying to gel them all together. I think it's all been about Mo Salah over the last 6 years, and now I think it's changed. I think it's got to be a team collective. I think he's going to carry on getting dropped. I do. I think at the moment, Liverpool are probably better without Mo Salah in the team.
Here's how things are looking in the table with that much-needed win for Liverpool, their first win in 4. As for West Ham, they are down in 17th after that. Not the result that they would have hoped for today. As for Liverpool, they're in the top half of the table, not where they would have expected to be by this point. But however, it is 3 points for them, and 3 points they really did desperately need.
Well, at least he doesn't have to talk about another Liverpool defeat.
No, he doesn't.
Does he stick with that, or is Mo Salah knocking on his door? Because you've got a guy who's not played well, you've benched him, but do you continue to bench him? Because you're not, as Stevie said, playing West Ham every week, and you're paying him a king's ransom. So what?
He has to.
He has to what? Leave him on the bench?
Aye, yeah, he has to.
Are they better off without him right now?
Absolutely. Look,
well, he's offering nothing.
Last week, I said it. You need to start from the back. You need the base to be right. You need to be solid. And you need to stop giving goals away. And you can't expect to score 3 and 4 goals every week to win a game. And so if he goes back and breaks that shape up, at least defensively, they were solid. Because it's always like, OK, he wasn't standing way out wide the way Mo does and just stands there and waits for the ball. He's getting involved, he's getting back inside, he's helping his full-back. So the whole shape defensively was miles better. And they're not going to get any better if they just all of a sudden go back to what they were doing and then teams start streaming through them again. You've got to look after the base, the solid structure that they had today. Yes, it's against West Ham, but it was a solid structure. There was no real drama. There was no running all over the place. There was no holes. So that's where you got to go from. So if he changes it and brings Mo Salah back against Sunderland, to me, that's a big mistake.
Stevie, beginning of an end in some ways, or that, you know, that Arne Slot has to try out a Liverpool side without Salah, or it's just because of form, basically?
Well, his form's not been at his amazing levels, of course. So when you're losing that many games, nearly every manager I've ever played at under any level will eventually get to the point where you pick a team that is defensively sound and doesn't carry anyone. Mm. And when you play Salah, you carry him defensively because of everything else he gives you. So it's probably 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks too late. Mm-hmm. But the proof was in the pudding. It was basically a 4-4-1-1, 4-2-3, 4-4-1-1, Verts in behind Isak. They narrowed up the 2 wide boys. Szoboszlai gravitates towards the central anyway. Gakpo did his job. They looked harder to play against. They had Gomez staying at right back. Bam, you're staying there. Kirkes didn't bomb too often. It was a good shape. West Ham weren't particularly good. Fair, that's obvious. Didn't test them to, but they looked solid. And they looked like they had a good shape about them. They weren't too gongo on the press. They weren't all over the place. It was a nice, solid performance with a few moments of magic to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
They probably think that would be the same for the next game. It would seem silly to change that when you've just got that first win. I think in terms of Salah, if you want to compete again, if you want to become really competitive again with the big teams, you've got to get confidence up in everyone before Salah comes back in and then starts putting his magic dust on the team. Right now, you've got to be thinking clean sheets, not losing games. That's the priority. If you win on the road, great. But if you don't get beat, fine. You're just building blocks. Doesn't matter that you won the league last year. Doesn't matter the Liverpool Football Club. It's building blocks. And each game goes by where you don't lose and you're not conceding many. All of a sudden, you can start sprinkling the little magic dust back in. And it's just little by little, step by step. And they've actually got a good week in terms of fixtures. Well, we've said that before, but on paper. The biggest thing for me, I thought Wirtz had his best game.
Yes.
Just play. I know I'm a bit biased, but watching players like him, he's just thinking ahead all the time. You think he's going to get crunched and he'll pop it. Then he's got time and he'll do a little turn and he's playing
Well, it was how he was always looking over his shoulder, looking where he could go next. He looked really energised and confident
player.
in that.
He looked stronger. Did you see the thing he was talking about? He's put on a couple of kilos, he's been in the gym. He looked a bit stronger, to be fair. The only problem is you have to be careful when you try and put on a bit of muscle because you lose a bit of sharpness. It's a delicate balance, that one. But he looked more confident. He looked like, and considering he's had that injury and I'm not trained that much, he looked sharp. Big plus that for Liverpool. And of course, the biggest plus is Isak getting the goal.